Okay, so today we'll be starting with a new course, which is the Ranchi University fourth semester course. Uh, this is running a bit early, and we'll be starting it today. The first topic first, I'll try to discuss the syllabus with you because there are a lot of subjects and we need to understand exactly what these subjects are. So let's quickly start by understanding the syllabus. So I would hope that you have the syllabus already with you. So quickly open that syllabus so that we can discuss the same. So you have, first of all, you have one, two, three, six subjects in semester 4. Out of these six subjects, there are three subjects which roughly when I went through it, I saw that three of these subjects are your general subjects and the other three are your honor subjects. Fine. So just give me 1 minute. I'll just do through that. Yeah. So the first subject that you have is entrepreneurship, which is a theoretical subject where you will try to understand what are the basic features of starting your own business, what are the terms and terminologies which new businessmen must understand, what are the various procedures to start a new business and the likes of the same. So this is your first subject. The second subject which you have is your Indian economy, which is a historical analysis of the economic trends, economic issues of the Indian economy. And we will this is also very much theoretical, and we'll go through this in detail. Okay, so the third subject is Indian banking system. It is a very short, so it has a very short syllabus. It has 6 units, but a very small portion, I would say. Here we will try to understand what the Indian banking infrastructure is like and what are the important components of it. RBI is something which we will be looking at very thoroughly, and NABARD as well. Okay, so the next one is again, now this is the first tough subject, I would say. This is a core subject. It is indirect tax and GST. Now this is very conceptual, meaning you will have both theoretical as well as practical questions here. We will try to understand what GST means, but before that we will try to understand what indirect taxes in India have been, and what are the changes that have happened due to GST. Okay, and we'll try to solve a few questions as well. Okay. The next chapter, again a core subject which will be starting today, is your corporate accounting. Now, corporate accounting has a very detailed syllabus of 6 units. Most of them, like 80% of your syllabus, is practical questions. So that is why I'll be giving a lot of emphasis on this subject, and we'll be starting this subject today. Again, just a quick note in the very beginning that you can score very good marks in this particular subject. Okay. The last subject is uh, not that tough, I would say. It is computer application business. It here will I'll just guide you to the basic understanding of how you can use the computer in your accounting process, and that is all. So these are the subjects that we'll be dealing with in semester 4 of the Ranchi University syllabus. So we'll be starting today with corporate accounts. So the first thing about corporate account, the first chapter, is issue of shares. Fine. But before we go into that, let's first understand what shares actually mean. So shares, if you would have gone through your earlier understanding in business studies, 11, 12 business studies, and in other semesters also previous to this, you must have come through this term of shares. This shares simply means that the ownership of the company is divided into small parts, and these parts are known as shares. Now, when we issue these shares, or when we give these shares to the public is allowed to buy the shares. So, when we give these shares to the public, what are the journal entries or what are the transactions that we do in our books is what we have to do, is what we have to understand or learn in this particular topic. So, the first thing that we'll be seeing is why are this is a flow chart of why shares are issued. So shares are basically issued for raising funds. Shares are issued for raising funds. So this procedure is not that important. We will discuss this later, but not today. We'll discuss this sometime later. This tells you how this happens, basically how the share issue happens. But this is not that important right now. Okay. So moving on, we'll directly jump into a question. We'll directly jump into a question. We'll go back to the theoretical part a little bit later. No need to write this question. Try to understand first how the question looks like. Okay, so it says a company had an authorized capital of 10 lakh divided into 1000 equity shares of rupees 100 each. It decided to issue 60,000 shares for subscription and received application for 70,000 shares. It allotted, we'll try to understand all of these terms. बहुत सारे नए terms हैं यहाँ पे, हम धीरे धीरे समझेंगे. It allotted 60,000 shares and rejected remaining applications. Up to 31/3/2017, notice that this is the closing date of the year. 31st March is the closing date. Okay, so it had demanded or called rupees 9 per share. All shares have duly paid the amount called, except one shareholder holding 5,000 shares who has paid only 7 per share. Now, why am I showing you this question? Only to understand the terminology. No need to start doing the sums right away. We'll just try to understand a few terms here. So the first term that we have to understand is what is the meaning of authorized capital. Okay? Authorized capital simply means the amount of shares that you are allowed to issue. The maximum limit of shares that you are allowed to issue is known as authorized capital. Okay? Now, mostly the companies do not issue the entire authorized capital, they issue something less. Okay, now this authorized capital total value is 10 lakh rupees, which is divided into 1000 equity shares of rupees 10 each. मतलब कि कुछ नहीं, ये 10 को डिवाइड करेंगे अगर 10 लाख से तो हमें 1 लाख मिल जाएगा, which is basically नंबर मतलब काउंटिंग. ठीक है, फॉर एग्जाम्पल आई टेल यू टू गो एंड बाई 100 pencils of rupees 10 each. Fine. So you buy how much pencil? You buy rupees 1000 worth of pencil. But at the same time, I can say this like I can say that you have purchased 100 pencils. So this is the quantity, whereas this is the value. Okay. Once more, I'll repeat. This is the quantity and this is the value and this is the cost of each. Now, moving on. It decided to issue 60,000 shares. ठीक है, मतलब कि आउट ऑफ 1 लाख शेयर्स उसने कितना बेचने का कोशिश किया? 60,000. ये 60,000 जब उसने बेचने का कोशिश किया तो ही रिसीव्ड एप्लीकेशन फॉर 70,000. नाउ एप्लीकेशन मीन्स कि कितने लोगों ने ये कंपनी को बोला या कंपनी को के पास एक एप्लीकेशन भेजा to buy this 60,000 shares. Consider it like this, that there is a school which has 1,000 seats. स्टूडेंट्स के लिए 1,000 सीट्स है. तो स्कूल बोलती है कि open to all, send us application for filling up these 1,000 seats. तो लोग क्या करते हैं, बहुत फेमस स्कूल है तो 1,000 के जगह 20,000 एप्लीकेशंस आ जाते हैं. सो दिस इज सिमिलर टू दैट कि 60,000 सामान बेचना था या 60,000 सीट्स अवेलेबल थी बट एप्लीकेशन कितने के आ गए, 70,000 के. ठीक है ना. बट यहाँ पे क्या आप लोगों को समझना होगा कि अगर स्कूल कॉलेज के पास 1,000 सीट्स है तो 20,000 लोगों को एडमिशन दे सकता है क्या, नहीं दे सकता. सो सिमिलरली हियर ऑल्सो, सिंस दिस कंपनी वांटेड टू इशू 60,000 शेयर्स, सो इट कैन नॉट गिव 70,000 शेयर्स, मीनिंग कि द रिमेनिंग 10,000 का जो उसको एप्लीकेशन मिल गया है इट विल हैव टू रिजेक्ट. ठीक है, मतलब कि आपके पास बेचने के लिए 60,000 चीज़ें हैं बट खरीदार 70,000 आ जाते हैं तो आपको 10,000 खरीदारों को वापस भेज देना पड़ेगा. ठीक है, उनके पैसों के साथ. ठीक है, फाइन. सो यहाँ तक समझ गए. ओके, इसके आगे वाला चीज़ हम लोग बाद में समझेंगे. विल ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड दिस पार्ट लेटर, but I hope that you have understood a few things. The first thing is that what is authorized capital? It is the total value of the capital, maximum value of the capital. 60,000 shares for subscription, meaning the company wants 60,000 shares to be sold, but it receives more applications which it rejects. It only accepts 60,000, baki remaining it rejects. So I hope you have understood till here. Fine. Now moving on, this is just the we'll now see a few journal entries. Fine. Okay. So I hope that you will remember what I just told you, because these will depend on that. Okay. Now understand one thing, that the share application or share issue process does not happen in one step. There are multiple steps involved. The first step is called as the application. फाइन, अभी हम लोगों ने पीछे भी देखा है. एप्लीकेशन सिंपली मीन्स दैट हियर द कंपनी विल अनाउंस दैट ओके वी आर रेडी टू सेल 60,000 shares to the public and we invite applications. ऐसा कंपनी हर जगह अनाउंसमेंट करेगी, न्यूज़पेपर्स में देगी, अलग अलग तरीके से ये अनाउंसमेंट होगा. ठीक है, इसके बाद क्या होगा, लोग इस अनाउंसमेंट को देखेंगे एंड दे वुड वांट टू बाय द शेयर्स ऑफ दिस पर्टिकुलर कंपनी. आफ्टर विच दे विल डू व्हाट, दे विल, वेरी सिमिलर टू योर एग्जाम फॉर्म फिलअप. क्या होता है एग्जाम फॉर्म फिलअप में, वेबसाइट पे फॉर्म आती है, हम लोग उसको फिल करते हैं, पैसे भरते हैं उसके साथ और भेज देते हैं, सबमिट कर देते हैं. सो सिमिलर टू दैट प्रोसेस, people will find the application form of this particular company. They will fill out their details कि कितना शेयर्स खरीदना है, कि क्या नाम है उस बंदे का, पैन कार्ड, एक्सेट्रा एक्सेट्रा डिटेल्स. and along with that they will submit the money that this company is charging on for एप्लीकेशन का जितना पैसा चार्ज कर रही है उतना वो भरेगा और वो भेज देगा। ठीक है, तो जब कोई पैसा भर के भेजेगा, किसे भेजेगा? कंपनी को भेजेगा। तो वो पैसा कंपनी कहाँ रिसीव करेगी? दैट मनी विल बी रिसीव्ड बाय द कंपनी इन द बैंक अकाउंट। ठीक है, तो पैसा सबसे पहले रिसीव होता है एप्लीकेशन। दिस इज द फर्स्ट जर्नल एंट्री फॉर योर इशू ऑफ शेयर्स। So the journal entry is bank account debit to share application account credit. ठीक है, why did this entry happen? Because people are sending us money for application. This money is being received in our bank account for what? For share application. So that is why we will prepare this new account, which is the share application account. ठीक है, here the amount which we will put will be the actual amount that we have received. For example, let's go in this previous question and see. So in this previous question, how much will be the, just quickly mentally I'll say the answer in 2 minutes, but before I say the answer, quickly come up with the answer by yourself कि यहाँ पे एप्लीकेशन के वक्त इनको कितना पैसा मिला होगा। ठीक है, इट विल बी, द मनी विल बी इक्वल टू 70,000 इंटू मल्टीप्लाइड बाय 9। ठीक है, फाइन। Why? Because instead of 60,000 we are receiving 70,000. सो यहाँ पे 70,000 से मल्टीप्लाई करेंगे हम जो भी यहाँ पे एप्लीकेशन का पैसा होगा। तो इन दैट पर्टिकुलर क्वेश्चन इट इज नॉट एग्जैक्टली गिवन, बट आई एम अज्यूमिंग दैट इट विल बी 9। ठीक है, ओके। सो दिस इज योर फर्स्ट जर्नल एंट्री ऑफ इशू ऑफ शेयर्स। नाउ this money, the money that you have just received, this money will be ignore this particular journal entry for the moment. Okay, so this money that you have just received will be transferred now to the second journal entry where you will debit it। ठीक है, यहाँ पे हमने क्रेडिट किया था, बट नाउ इट विल बी डेबिट। व्हाई? बिकॉज दिस मनी विल बी ट्रांसफर्ड टू द एक्चुअल अकाउंट वेयर इट बिलोंग्स, विच इज द शेयर कैपिटल अकाउंट। ठीक है, द मनी दैट वी हैव रिसीव्ड, actually why have we received it? Because we want to transfer it to share capital. That is why we will transfer this money to the share capital account. Now you will ask, you will have a question here ki why don't we do this directly? I just told you there are step by step calculations. Fine, so there will, in the future we will see that there are multiple steps that will come in between here. This gap that you see, there will be multiple other steps. Fine, okay. So the first two journal entries are this and this. Fine, okay, just quickly note down these journal entries. I'll give you 2 minutes to do the same. Okay, moving on, I'll go and show you, before going ahead, I'll show you a question where this exact journal entry has happened. So you will have a clear idea. Okay, quickly read this question. A company invited 10,000 equity shares of 50 each, payable on application 15. Okay, read till here, then cut off all of this. Then from here, applications are received for 10,000 shares, and all applicants are allotted the number of shares they have applied. Meaning यहाँ पे क्या दिया, जो मैंने read किया बस उतना ही समझो अभी. A company invited application for 10,000 equity shares of rupees 50 each. मतलब इस कंपनी को कितना शेयर्स बेचना है, 10,000 शेयर्स बेचना है. ठीक है. इन शेयर्स का टोटल प्राइस मैं बोल रहा हूँ, फुल कॉस्ट इज ₹50. बट आउट ऑफ दिस 50, this company is only asking for ₹15 on application. ठीक है ना. एप्लीकेशंस आर रिसीव्ड फॉर 10,000 शेयर्स, मीनिंग कि जितने के एप्लीकेशन, जितने का वो बेचना चाह रही है शेयर्स, एग्जैक्टली उतने के ही एप्लीकेशंस इसको मिले हैं. तो इसको कुछ प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. दिस कंपनी हैज नो प्रॉब्लम. दिस विल इशू द शेयर्स टू ऑल ऑफ देम. So now how will the journal entry look? So journal entry, first of all, जब कंपनी पैसे रिसीव कर रही है, कहाँ रिसीव करेगी? इट विल रिसीव द मनी इन बैंक अकाउंट, इन द बैंक अकाउंट. तो बैंक अकाउंट विल बी डेबिटेड बाय, बिकॉज बैंक अकाउंट इज अ रियल अकाउंट. सो रियल अकाउंट में पैसे आ रहे हैं, मीनिंग मनी इज कमिंग इन, सो इट विल बी डेबिटेड. By what amount it will be debited? It will be debited by this 10,000 multiplied by 15. Now why 15? Because it has clearly been mentioned that on application we are supposed to get only 15 rupees. It is clearly mentioned here. Payable on application 15. तो 15 रुपए एप्लीकेशन में वो मांग रहा है, तो इसलिए 10,000 लोग क्या करेंगे, 15 रुपए लेकर आएंगे और अपना एप्लीकेशन जमा करेंगे. दैट इज वाई बैंक में कितना आएगा, 1,50,000. एंड ऑन द क्रेडिट साइड, इक्विटी शेयर एप्लीकेशन अकाउंट विल बी क्रेडिटेड विद द सेम अमाउंट. फाइन. ओके. Now this is not over yet. The second entry is also equally important. The second entry is, we will transfer this money that we just received and debit it into the equity share capital account. Why? Because this equity share capital account is the account where we put all the money that we are receiving by issuing shares. Fine. So all of the money that we will be receiving, you will see ahead as well in the next entries also, whatever money we are receiving in each step, all of the money will get transferred to the share capital account. Now, what is the share capital account? If I just quickly give you a brief understanding, the share capital account is basically, it comes on the liability side of our balance sheet, where we show that how much of shares we have issued. Fine. So this was the very first step of your issue of shares, which is the first step is share application. Now let's go and see the second step. The second step is called as the allotment. Right? It is called allotment. Now, what is the meaning of this word allotment? In English, the word allotment means to give something a proper designation or a proper ऑथोरिटी या प्रॉपर, क्या बोल सकते हैं उसको हिंदी में अगर हम लोग समझाना चाहें, किसी को दर्जा देना, ठीक है। तो अलॉटमेंट सिंपली, in the allotment step what we simply do is we register the people who have submitted money as our shareholders. Fine. Once more, I'll repeat this particular thing. Allotment is the step where we register, officially, we register the names of the people who have given us the money for application. So, this is the meaning of the allotment, meaning of the word allotment. Now, how will this allotment step happen? This allotment step will happen exactly the opposite of how the application step happened. Now, let us erase this and I'll explain this part. Okay. Why do I say that it will be the opposite? Because here this entry will happen first. Now, let's shut off this. Okay. Now here this entry will happen first. Forget that this is number 2, right? Forget that this is number 3, right? Now here this is the third step and this is the first step of allotment. Third step of the entire transaction, but the first step of the allotment. Here what we will do is we will make this entry first. Share allotment account debit to share capital account credit. Fine. Okay. So what I just said, I'll repeat it once more and try to make you understand. So think about this entire issue of shares process as a college admission or a normal school admission procedure. What happens first is we apply to the college. Thereafter the college checks our details and then it calls up not everybody who has applied but a select few people. It calls up and says that okay, you have been selected, please submit the XYZ amount of money and then you will get your name registered into the college. Now understand that this issue of shares also follows this same procedure. फर्स्ट में एप्लीकेशन स्टेज में क्या हुआ, एप्लीकेशन स्टेज में हमने पैसा पहले जमा कर दिया, उसके बाद उन लोगों ने क्या किया, उस पैसे को शेयर कैपिटल अकाउंट में ट्रांसफर किया, ठीक है। अब सेकेंड वाले स्टेज में क्या होता है कि जिनको जिनको, सबको नहीं, जिनको जिनको कंपनी डिसाइड करेगी कि नहीं, दीज आर द पीपल हु आर जेन्युइन एंड हु हैव सबमिटेड द एंटायर मनी, we will call up only those people and inform them that okay, this is the amount of money that you have to submit during the allotment phase, which is the next phase. Are you ready to submit that money? So this is the call that you will be that the company will be making for the next stage, which is allotment. Fine. Now, so that is why we make this entry first. So here share allotment account will be debited, thereafter share capital account will be credited, but here the amounts will differ. We will see quickly in the question that we were discussing. And then after we have made this entry, we will be receiving money in our bank account from the shareholders, from the people who have been allotted money. They will first get the call. The call entry is this. Call in the sense, they will, just to understand it, they will get a due call ki okay, now the money is due and you are to submit the money. So this is that entry first. and thereafter they will start depositing the money in the bank account. So this is that entry. Fine. So the first entry here will be share allotment account debit to share capital account credit. Thereafter the second entry will be bank account debit to share allotment account credit. Fine. So quickly take 2 more minutes to write down these journal entries. Now this is the third journal entry, by the way. This is the third journal entry, by the way, which is share allotment account debit to share capital account credit. And this is your fourth journal entry. This is your fourth journal entry now. Bank account debit to share allotment account credit. I'll give you 2 minutes to write this down, and then we'll see that particular question. Okay, let's go ahead and see that particular this particular journal entry in that question. Okay, now let's continue reading this question completely this time. So this line we have read, on application rupees 15, on allotment rupees 20, and on first and final call rupees 15. So do notice that 15, 20 and 15 adds up to rupees 50. Okay? This simply means that after the application stage and in the allotment stage, which is the second stage, how much money are we asking? We are asking 20 rupees. This 20 rupees will be submitted by how many people? 10,000 people here. 10,000 equity shares are being issued. So 10,000 equity shares पे 20 रुपए हम कलेक्ट करेंगे. ठीक है? So let's see the journal entries for this particular transaction. So this is the first entry where we will be calling up all the people who have applied to buy the shares. Now notice, remember one thing here, that one person may apply for more than one equity share. So there may be only two people who have applied. So 5,000 के shares के लिए application किया दो लोगों ने. So this can also happen. So we will call up these two people and tell them that okay, now we have seen your application and that application is correct. There is no error. Everything matches correctly. So now we are requesting you to deposit the allotment money. So when we do this, this entry will be passed. This is the due entry. When the allotment money is made due. ठीक है? So यहाँ पे एंट्री क्या होगा? Equity share allotment debit to share capital account credit. The amount will be equal to 10,000 multiplied by 20. Now how 10,000 and how 20? Simply because here how many shares are being issued? 10,000 shares are being issued. Okay? And it has been given that on allotment the company is asking rupees 20. So this is the first entry. No. The second entry would be just after this, when these people will deposit the money in the bank. Fine. So the second entry after this would be when the people will deposit the money in the bank. So the company's bank account will become debit. Why? Because we are receiving, now we are the company, we are receiving the money. And why are we receiving this money? Because it is equity share allotment money. So it will be bank account debit to equity share allotment account credit. So that will be the all in the first two transactions. I'll show this here for you to quickly look through once. And we'll be doing till here today. Will I want so today's task at the end of the day is to go through this question and go through the journal entries that we just discussed and try to memorize first of all these journal entries, these 4 journal entries that we passed, and then solving these same 4 journal entries by yourself in the evening. So you will be seeing this now, try to understand it now, take 5 minutes, and then in the evening you will see this question once again without seeing the answer and try to solve this. So memorize all the 4 journal entries that we discussed, and also memorize and try to understand these 4 amounts that we have written here, the amounts for all these 4 journal entries. So that will be all for today's class. I do not want to rush, because then it is the person has difficulty understanding. Go slowly, try to understand, and do message me right after this if you have any doubt, if anybody has any doubts. Okay, that will be all. We'll have an interactive session with all the new students today. So that will begin in some time.